Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So I hope everyone is having a great Friday. This is a book review on The Sea Witch Rising by Sarah Henning. So I'm just going to quickly go through the synopsis and then go from there. So, Runa will not let her twin sister die. Alia traded her voice to the Sea Witch for a shot at happiness with a prince who doesn't love her, and his rejection will literally kill her unless Runa intervenes. Under the sea, Evie craves her own freedom, but liberation from her role as Sea Witch will require an exchange she may not be willing to make. With their hearts' desires at odds, what will Runa and Evie be willing to sacrifice to save their worlds? Told from alternate perspectives, this epic fairy tale retelling is a romantic and heart-wrenching story about the complications of sisterhood, the uncompromising nature of magic, and the cost of redemption. So I will try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible. So for those of you who haven't read this book yet and are still going through the first one, I would highly recommend you coming back and watching this video at a later time. For as spoiler-free as I can keep it, it won't necessarily jive if you haven't read the first one yet. Or the second one, really. So for those of you who have read the first one, just as a recap, it's the telling of Ursula's story, so to speak. It's a retelling of the Little Mermaid story, and it goes in a much more depth detail, and it takes a bit of a different turn as it explains how Ursula ended up being the way she is. Or in this case, her name is Evie. I ended up really enjoying the story. It ended up being one of my top favorites for 2019. So when I finished that one, I was a little disappointed in the ending, but I didn't totally get upset just because I knew there was a second book, so there had to be more of the story. So going into the second one, I have to say it's a 5 out of 5 stars for me, as both books are. I really enjoyed the continuation of the story. I really enjoyed all the characters. I loved the collaboration between all the different characters, the twists, and I really enjoyed the story. I have to say, I think the only thing I didn't like about all of it was the ending, just because I was really hoping, and this shouldn't spoil too much because I won't dive into too much detail, but this shouldn't spoil anything. At the very end, I was kind of hoping there would be a meeting between Runa and Evie at the very end, a face-to-face sort of kind of thing, and that never happened, and it was something that I was really hoping for. So part of me is really hoping for another book to maybe see what goes from there. At the same time, it wouldn't be so bad if there wasn't another book. I think that the story ended really well. And I would definitely recommend this read to anyone who really enjoys sea fairy tales, as I do. The Little Mermaid for me has always been my #1 fairy tale for any of those who really know me. So I dove into the first book pretty quickly and really enjoyed the second one. It does have some slow bits here and there, but I really enjoyed the whole thing. And I think what I enjoyed the most was not just the friendships and the bonds it created, but the diversity in the characters. You know, as soon as you think you have it handled that one person is a bad guy and a villain, he's no good, then all of a sudden he kind of changes and does a complete 180 on you, and or 360, whatever. And he's doing something that you wouldn't have expected. So I think each character had their turn at both being good guys, bad guys, and sort of in between. Like, there's a lot of gray areas for every single one of their personalities. So it was a really good story. And yeah, if any of you have read this story, what did you think of it? I'm trying not to get into too much details, just for those who maybe haven't read it yet. I'm trying to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. So anyway, that is kind of my thoughts and opinions on that book, and that was The Sea Witch Rising by Sarah Henning. And I will have a review up on Goodreads here shortly as well. So I thank you all so much for coming and checking out my channel, and I will see you all in the next video.